We're naked. We're in bed. We haven't started fucking yet, but we're making out and having a nice time. And then all of a sudden, like, the door opens, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, we woke up Molly, and she's not going to be happy because she woke up. Not that I'm doing that, but because I woke her up. And it's Elena. Because Elena, you had dropped Elena.
I just dropped Elena off, and she's like, well, I don't know what I'm about to walk into, but
so she
here we
opens
go.
The door. We're both naked in there. She's staying in that far left bedroom in there. So we like both are like looking back, at who it is. And she's like, hey guys, don't want to interrupt, but I ordered some tacos. And she's like, so when you guys finish up, we can get some tacos.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the #1 sugar dating podcast in the world, where we pull back the curtains on the good and the bad and the shocking stories of sugar dating. I am recording in my home office or my home studio today, and I grabbed one of the sponsors of our Secrets of a Sugar Daddy party, who's here with me now, and we're just going to jump right into it. Welcome, Short King from Chicago.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you.
How are you?
Wonderful. It's such a gorgeous day out today. I love your home office here.
Now, you were one of the last guys to get into the party. Today is Saturday. We're actually going to go to the concert tonight, but we kind of had a little pre-party last night.
I mean, if last night was the only thing that happened, it was a huge win.
So that was a little bit unexpected. Lily said, most everybody's coming to town, midday, mid-afternoon. We should all grab drinks on Friday night, just something casual. Well, it turned in a little bit something more than just casual.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
So a couple of the Sugar Daddy sponsors got suites at the W. One of them got upgraded to the presidential suite. We didn't even get to see that one because the other suite was massive with a pool table. The biggest deck, looked like it was the biggest deck at the W,
I couldn't believe
outdoor
how big
deck.
It was amazing.
Yeah, kind of wrapped around the hotel. It was like a perfect setting for a get-together. And there was I think there was a little over 30 of us there or so.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody, gorgeous women.
Oh, what do you think of the contestants who have joined us this week?
I mean, it's like being in heaven, It's like a 3-to-1 guy-girl ratio,
Right.
And all these girls are gorgeous, and not just gorgeous, but they know how to talk, and they're friendly, and it's just really amazing.
So what have you noticed about the dynamic of all these people in the same lifestyle getting together?
Well, it's almost from the beginning, it seems that everybody's just like comfortable and knows each other.
It was almost like instant family.
Like instant family, because it's, no filters. We're sitting. We have we call it the Chicago house.
Yeah.
So we have the Chicago house, and we were just talking like licking cum off of the head of a dick like a lollipop. Like that was a topic of conversation.
Oh, really?
While we're all like
so
sipping
we're
our
going
coffee.
there already.
Oh, I mean, well, that's the thing. At what level are you talking to people, and you say something like that? Well, that's like 5 minutes with this group, because like that's what we all think about.
Yeah.
And that's what we all talk about. So
Right.
It's been really fun.
Well, we're going to get back to the party because some interesting things happened just in the having drinks together and everybody getting to know each other. We're going to kind of save that for a little bit later. I want Short King to give a little bit of a background. I've heard a little bit of your background, and more I've gotten to know you. It's pretty interesting, and I think our audience will be quite interested to know where you were and how you got here.
Yeah. So, and I'm Short King because I'm 5'4".
Yeah, but you know what?
So,
you
that's
own
the
it.
short oh yeah,
and
totally
embrace it. As a matter of fact, you took a picture with one girl. She's 5'11", and she was wearing at
3-inch
least
heels.
3-inch heels.
Yeah, 3-inch heels.
And it is really a funny photo.
She, like if she would have held her arms straight out, I could have walked underneath
yeah,
it. Yeah.
But she loves being the queen of the room.
Yeah.
And she owns it.
And she's gorgeous too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Beautiful blonde hair down to the middle of her back there.
Yeah, I was telling her a story. When I first moved to Arizona, I didn't know anybody. Well, I knew one guy, and I was looking for a place to crash, and he couldn't really accommodate me. He goes, well, here's my friend so-and-so. She might have an extra room because her sister's out of town. So I'm like, well, this is really odd, but I will message her because I just needed a place to crash. I didn't have any money. I'm looking for a job, whatever. So she's like, oh, yeah, I know so-and-so, and I'd be happy to, you can stay at my house. And she was 6'1", and her sister was like 6'1" or 6'2", and they wore 3-inch heels. And I'm telling you, when they went out at night, and because I went out with them like that weekend, and they owned the night. When they walked into the event or venue or wherever we were at, I mean, people stopped and paid attention. Yeah. And they were both absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. We talk preferences and, like filters on like Seeking. When I'm doing a search, I filter my searches to women who are 5'9" and under.
Yeah.
And some people ask why. It's like, are you not attracted to taller women? No, it's weird with the sex. You're having sex with a woman who's taller because when you're short like me, being inside a woman and kissing her at the same time, if she's super tall, depending on where her height is, if it's all in her legs or if it's in her torso up, can be challenging.
Hey, I'm 5'9", and it's been challenging for me once. My very first threesome, I've told this story before, but one of them was 5'11", the other one was 5'9", which was the same height as me. So we got on the bed. They both bent over and says, choose which one you want. And so I'm on my knees on the bed, and I can't reach either one because their legs were so tall. And I was like, you guys are going to have to bend down. I can't reach you. It was so embarrassing. I was already awkward because it was my first threesome. And I couldn't quite reach up there because
that's
had
great.
Such long legs.
It's so funny. I talk about Elena named me Short King when she was on here. And I have the joke that I just, I decided in life to exchange, 3 or 4 inches of height for 3 or 4 extra inches.
Okay. We'll just go with your word on that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's a podcast. It can be as big as I want it to be.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your background because you told me at one time you were well overweight.
Yeah. So I used to be 195 pounds. The brief history of like even getting onto Seeking is interesting because I was a virgin when I got married. I dated the same girl from high school all the way through college.
Really?
The first time I kissed her was when I got engaged between my junior and senior year of college. So I've been with this woman for
Were you just
8
shy?
years.
Or you just...
No, I honestly, I really thought that, I wanted to save everything for marriage.
Okay.
That was my idea. And I think it could have worked if I would have found the right person, but we didn't argue or anything in our marriage. We just didn't connect. We were not, we didn't connect sexually. Even after getting married, it took us 2 weeks to actually have sex.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why?
She just wasn't comfortable with her body. It was painful. We even saw therapists and doctors and everybody said there wasn't a problem. It was fine. A lot of therapists that we saw would ask her if she was ever abused, but just because of some of the mental hurdles she had, and she never said that she was or anything. But long story short, after 10 years of this, I'm wanting to explore my sexuality. I want to have a blowjob without a towel there every time there's a little bit of pre-cum, wiping it off.
Oh,
because she I think it's gross and
no,
stuff.
I get it.
So it came to the point where I just definitely wanted to explore my sexuality, and I understood that it was not going to be there. And then she ended up, against what I wanted, she ended up aborting our baby.
Oh,
and that pretty much ended it. We tried to work through that, but
were you guys the same age?
Same age. We went to high school together.
Yeah.
College together. Yeah.
And you wanted the baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And the other thing is I was adopted. So, I was technically the unwanted baby, and my birth mother chose to put me up for adoption rather than, stopping the process. So my ex, and I at the time, it wasn't like we disagreed on pro-life, pro-choice. We were both pro-life. It wasn't like a disagreement there. I actually would have had a lot more respect if that was the case, because then it's actually, okay, you actually have a viewpoint. But she just did something, obviously it was heartbreaking.
Now, did she do this without your consent or knowledge?
She told me she was pregnant. She called me when I was at work, and she was, really hysterical about it and upset. And so I came home from work that day and then went on a walk. One of my mentors had said, hey, if you're really in a heated space, get out of your home, because it just helps calm things down, So we went for a walk, and I basically just reinforced, hey, my family's in the area. They're going to help take care of the kids. We make plenty of money. We have an extra bedroom. There was no reason. We'd been married for 10 years at the time. And then the next day she went and had an abortion.
Wow.
Yeah.
That had to have been
Yeah.
Just heartbreaking for you.
Yeah, it was. And, I've done a lot of healing from that. One of the most remarkable things I did just 2 years ago was an ayahuasca.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, where I had a beautiful experience with it was a girl, my child. And in the ayahuasca, my daughter told me that she fulfilled her life's purpose, which she needed to die so that I could live, because I never would have left my wife. So I've done some healing. After that point in time, I became very sexually explorative. I'm an ethical non-monogamist. So even back then, I didn't want to lead anybody on. So like I'm married at that time, and I'm still not thinking I'm getting a divorce. And I did not want to have an affair, because everything I read about affairs was, you're lying to this woman and she puts her life on hold, and then she, like all of these stories. I'm like, I cannot do that to another human being. And so I found out about escorts, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Like you pay them, you have sex, they're gorgeous, and I was always the non-popular, not attractive kid growing up. And so having an attention from these, gorgeous women was amazing, In the course,
so you started seeing escorts, and of course, this costs money. And how were you funding that without her knowing?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of tricks that I did. A lot of tricks.
I don't even know what would an escort cost.
Yeah, so
average.
Yeah, so escorts, an inexpensive escort is going to run $300 an hour.
Okay.
And that doesn't matter if you're taking them out to eat, or if you're going on a date, or you're fucking them. Doesn't matter.
Are you getting these girls off Craigslist or Backpage or wherever you get them?
That's a good question. So I got really good at finding great escorts. I would really tend to see the same girls. But there's websites for it. There's websites for escorts, and then there's review sites for escorts. So there's like Yelp for escorts.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, there is, I can't remember the site. There is a site for sugar dating reviews of girls. You could add, there's actually a sugar dating review site. My fiance, which we'll get to, we met on SA. She's been reviewed on that site.
Really?
Yes, and I can't remember what it is. I'll have to get it to you.
We'll have to figure that out.
But there is a
Yeah,
sugar
that
review site. Like you can go on, and men and women. Like there's a list of men. Hey, this guy didn't pay me, or this guy was dangerous. There's also a list of women. And I know you've had like times where like the scams and stuff that you guys have found.
Right.
I need to figure that out, and I'll let you know. But there's a site for that. And the review site goes into all the details. So it's like, do they give a blowjob without a condom? Do they do,
really?
Are their pictures real? How big are their breasts? Do they shave their pussy? Like it.
Wow.
It mentions everything. And then they have men write reviews of their experience. And
how have I not come across this yet?
I don't know.
Anyway,
so that was the escorting world. But it was interesting because as I was seeing these escorts, I saw in the course of like a year, 2 years at the most, at least 50 different escorts. So I was seeing a lot.
Now, were you being somewhat safe during this, or
yeah, you always use condoms.
Okay.
The only time you don't use condoms during oral sex. At least I don't prefer that.
Right.
Well,
nobody prefers it.
Nobody prefers it.
But things are still transmitted orally.
They are, yeah. That's the risk
Yeah.
that I would take. The review site would say if that was something that the woman was open to or
Right.
not. And I would say 90% of them were.
Wow.
And about 10% of them were not. So, and I mean, all of them were, any sort of intercourse was with protection, of course. But I was seeing this one girl in Chicago, and I saw her so many times where she just started charging me a per time to see her, like a pay-per-meet, because she really enjoyed my company, and I would take her out to eat, and I think she was like $700 an hour.
Wow.
So go out to dinner,
Now, how
go
are
back.
you affording this?
Yeah. So
At this age?
At this age, yeah. So and I'm in my 30s. So this is my early 30s when I was
Wow.
doing this. So I used to be overweight. I tried counting calories and did a bunch of other things to try to lose weight, and I would always gain it back. I was 195 pounds, and for somebody who's 5'4", that would make me obese, like medically classified as obese. I saw this naturopath doctor who, he said, hey, it's about your metabolism and your metabolic function, not about calories. And, the skinny people who can eat all they want and never gain a pound, you just have to have a metabolism like that. And I was like, well, of course, that sounds amazing. So we spent about 6 months doing all these tests and everything. It cost me about $15,000. And he didn't even charge me for time. That was just all the tests. This is like 14 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, okay, here's your recipe or your program. And I was taking like fistfuls of supplements. They were all like, natural supplements. And then I was on a very strict diet. I could eat like 12 things. I did it. The first few days were really hard, but man, I dropped 30 pounds in 40 days. And just felt
30
amazing.
30 pounds in 40 days.
30 pounds in 40 days.
Wow.
And then I just was like, wow, I want to do this for other people. Like, it transformed my life. It really transformed my life. And so I started, studying nutrition and researching, and I came across this bioscanning company, and I worked with them to program a bioscan for metabolic function. It took about a year, and I finished working with them on that, and I had my parents do the bioscan and do the program, and my dad dropped 40 pounds in 40 days. My mom lost 25 pounds in 40 days. And it was like, oh my gosh, I have something here. So what took me 6 months to do, now we can do in 17 minutes. And like, we do that. And we hand people, here's the stuff. And also just like what to eat. Like, broccoli may be good for you, but not for the next person. Well, how do you know that,
So that's what you do
that's
now
what I
for
do
a
now.
living?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So
it's a great mission.
I love it, and especially, like, I lost weight because I wanted to be attractive to my partner.
Yeah.
I wanted to have sex with my partner.
Yeah, and you look great. I saw you in a tight shirt yesterday. I'm like, wow, Short King looking good.
Short King looks okay.
Yeah.
It didn't work, like, the outcome wasn't there. I lost the weight, and I still wasn't sexually desirable by my partner. And there was obviously more to it than that. We've got weight loss centers in Illinois, and then we have like 16 weight loss centers around the U.S., and then we have we just started the ability to do our program from anywhere. It's actually so funny. I've had I would say about 40% of the women that I've had arrangements with have ended up doing my program because they all want to do it. I mean, all women want to lose weight. It's like,
kind of reminds me of most of Dr. Charles' sugar babies end up having plastic surgery with it.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah. So even at your young age, though, you were just getting started. How were you affording all these escorts?
Yeah,
I know how expensive this can be.
Oh, yeah.
Just my one sugar
probably-
baby is
is enough.
wow. Yeah, I never thought I'd be spending this kind of money on a girl. Well,
yeah, the companies did well. And there's ups and downs with every business, but the companies did well. And when you have a product like that, like, man, 40 pounds, 40 days. Like, we have people, our record holder lost 70 pounds in 40 days. It's like,
and this is safe.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's what's great about it. You're not doing anything fake. Like, there's no pills, there's no stimulants, all we're doing is giving the body the food that it says it needs to do what it's supposed to do. So when you give your body the things that it needs, it loses weight. Like, your body is not supposed to be overweight. So, for instance, when you look at the animal kingdom, or you go to the zoo and you look at elephants, all elephants are fat, but they're the same fat. You don't have an elephant that's got like extra junk in the trunk.
Yeah.
Right? They're all fat. So
now, I know this is diet based, but there's also got to be exercise involved.
There's no exercise.
No, come on.
No, zero. So with zero exercise. Now, weight loss is 2% exercise and 98% diet. Now, health and fitness and strength and everything, that's obviously going to be the exercise. And also mental health, exercising for mental health. But weight loss is just diet, right? Because weight loss, and think of it this way, your metabolic function does not change that much when you exercise, okay? But your metabolic function changes drastically when your body is given the right things to get your metabolic function working like it should. So as soon as your body, and the thing is, it's happened so quickly, as soon as your body gets all of the elements it needs, it immediately loses weight because we're not supposed to be overweight. As a species, the reason we're overweight is because we're eating foods that our body doesn't know what to do with.
And you can walk around in any store, any shopping mall, anything here, and you just like, Americans are fat.
Oh, yeah.
It is a real problem.
Yeah. 70% actually are overweight or obese.
I met a girl on Seeking from Vancouver, Canada, and I went up there and visited her, and she says, we are so different than the U.S., and she lived downtown, right? So she goes, walk around downtown and tell me if you see any fat people. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure there's going to be dozens of fat people because I'm used to seeing them everywhere in the U.S. Literally, I'm walking around downtown Vancouver, and I'm seeing fit, healthy people everywhere. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. Why is it so different up there versus the U.S.? The mentality is just different. Now, of course, there was a few, that I finally spotted. But for the most part, people were very health conscious about what they ate, exercise, fitness, which leads into better mental health.
Absolutely. Well, and not to like take this whole episode to talk about weight loss, but I mean
and we all battle it.
Yeah. Well, and we battle it because I love capitalism. I'm very, very pro the way our country's set up. The problem with capitalism when it comes to the food that we eat is, we have one of the biggest, besides pharmaceutical companies, one of the biggest money lobbyist power in Washington is the food companies. And there's 11 food companies that control 90% of the food we eat. So there is so much sway and power they have in Washington. So for instance, if you take a Snickers bar and you look at the ingredients and you go and to Canada and you look at a Snickers bar with the ingredients, it's different, or to Italy. It's because the US has the idea, because again, it's pushed through the money, through the food companies, is, hey, you know what? We're not exactly sure what this is going to do to people's body, but let's test it out. Whereas most other countries are like, we're not exactly sure what's going to happen if we give this to people's bodies, so let's not do it. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's all about following the money. So where capitalism breaks down is going to be, like our medical system, where we are just pushing so many drugs on people. And by the way, the price tag in the medical system, and this is going to include insurance, this is going to include doctor's visits, pharmaceuticals, like the whole thing, from birth to death. Do you know what the dollar amount is on each American?
Yeah, I'm sure it's staggering.
$30 million.
It's that high?
$30 million. If you do, it's crazy. If you follow the standard Western medicine from birth to death, the dollar amount on you is $30 million. Now, it's not going to be $30 million of your dollars. It's going to be $30 million of the collective, right? So like people think, well, my insurance is going to pay for that. Well, insurance is just from somebody's company is just, what is this group paying for insurance? Because it always is going to cover it, and that's why every year it keeps going up. Right. Again, I don't want to get on my hobby horse here, but that's where capitalism, I believe, has the problems, is when we get into our medical system and in our food supply. And that's why, even in a place like Vancouver, they're just not the same things allowed. Like even if you're not as health conscious, you're not going to have the weight issue like you will in America, just because there's just so much allowed. Even like sizes, you go overseas and most cans of Coke are these little guys, because it's better for you to have less than, some of the portion sizes that we have here. So
yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting stuff.
So that's how, so to answer the question about money, and then hiding it, right? So there's a lot of tricks, of course, over time that I learned, but running a business, you can, if you ever take cash from your business, you can take that cash, and then as far as trying to hide it from someone, you can take that cash and then you can use that to pay for your extracurricular activities without hitting a bank account.
Yeah, I'm well aware of how that works. I'm in the construction business, and occasionally customers will say, here's some cash, and I'm like, oh, nice, I got some play money.
For the sugar babies that are listening too, when I got into the sugar lifestyle, I loved it if they had a company. Mm-hmm. I could write them checks from my company to their company. Oh, that is beautiful. And by the way, for sugar babies, if you'll do that, that's actually really smart, because then you can start to actually build wealth for yourself. If you just take cash and you use cash to, buy whatever you're buying, you're never going to create anything of wealth. But if you actually claim the income, pay taxes on the income, that allows you then to be able to get loans to buy homes and whatever else you want to buy to actually start, creating a lifestyle. I found that to be very helpful, because then I can also take that as a deduction.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. All right. So you were seeing these escorts.
Yeah. So then I was seeing it, one of them, and she's like, you know what? You are looking for more than what I can give you or want to give you. You were looking for something that is a little bit more like a relationship.
Right.
And I was like, absolutely. So she
like a
said,
sugar relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so she said, check out this website. So it's actually an escort that I was seeing in Chicago.
So she referred you to Seeking?
Seeking. Yep.
Okay.
And I loved it. Like from the start, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much better.
How old were you at this point?
It's probably 7 years ago, something like that.
Which makes you what?
31.
So so being 31-year-old sugar daddy, was it difficult? Because...
honestly, it's funny because I listen to the podcast and I listen to people like, we're they're all always looking for older.
Right.
I didn't have any problem. I tried to use it to my advantage. Like, hey, I'm young, I'm fit. I think I'm interesting. So I'm interesting.
And
so
did you get any pushback from the girls who are like, I won't date anybody under 6 foot?
I think I've actually got more of that recently.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I've actually had like people actually say you're too short, and some of them even like in a meaner way. But I don't ever let that, like, that doesn't bother me, because I wouldn't want to be with that person anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm fine if people, like, seeking is supposed to be mildly shallow, you know?
Yeah.
You know, as far as like initial, right?
Right.
So I'm fine with it, because like I have a type of woman that I like, and if she messages me and she's not my type, I'm not going to.
Well, it's got to help having a financial aspect to it, because they're like, he might be short, but I could really use the money.
Yeah. It always helps.
Yeah,
That's for sure. It always
Whereas
helps.
if you're short on Bumble,
Yeah.
you shit out of luck.
Yeah, well, so I've been on Tinder recently, and I have never gotten in the United States. I've never gotten a Tinder date.
Yeah.
Ever. When I went down to Brazil,
I've had,
I did.
a couple,
but,
and that is
yeah,
it.
Yeah. I do think that's height.
But you went down to Brazil and what?
So I went down to Brazil just a couple weeks ago. Oh my gosh, it's just a different experience. The women hit on the men down there.
Really?
Oh my gosh, like you can go to Brazil. You can get everything's like a Brazilian steakhouse down there is like $8.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so everything's very inexpensive, and you can go out to a club and you can pick up a girl that's a 8, 9, or 10. And without a problem, it's just different.
Yeah,
like just
we've
different.
We've had a few guests who have been in like South American countries, and they tell stories. It's different. Yeah.
Well, and the guys down there, they don't try.
Yeah.
So if you put a little bit of effort and you pay for food and drinks, which is like, we went out to a club and got like a booth right by the DJ. Paid for bottle service and whatever. Had Don Julio. You were just nice, nice alcohol out there. We had 3 or 4 bottles, and get to the end of the night, it's like $750.
Yeah.
Nothing. So anyway, I then met my now fiance on Seeking.
So how soon into the process did you meet her?
Probably a year. Probably been
Okay.
on Seeking for about a year, and we met,
And you guys are engaged.
and now we're engaged. Yeah. So
how long ago did that happen?
we got engaged? I think it's going to be 3 years here.
Wait, you've been engaged
December.
for 3 years?
I think it's close to that. Yeah.
What are you hating on?
Well, I just finished in April a 4-year divorce. So that divorce took 4 years to
Why
to
did it
finish.
take 4 years? No kids.
No kids. No.
Why did it take 4 years?
Yeah.
Hey, I can understand. I had a very vindictive
Yep.
ex-wife, no kids. We had a lot of property to divide up,
Yep.
and it took over a year and a half, and it was nasty. It involved multiple lawyers.
Yep. Same.
I ended up doing an 80-20 split. She got 80%. I got 20. I had to finally give in
Just
to
get
all
it out.
the
Yep.
demands. My buddies at the club are like, dude, just sign the deal. I know it sucks, it hurts, but you got to move on. Now, the smart thing I did, not to hijack your story, is I did keep all the debt, but I also kept all the real estate tied with that debt. So when the market boomed a few years ago, my 20% well surpassed anything that she had.
Nice.
And so it ended up working out in the long run, and I kind of knew it was. And her argument was, well, you can make the money back. I can't. Well, I don't know. I mean, she could. She just didn't want to.
She didn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had always provided and done
Yeah.
and made all the financial investments and the real estate moves and all that stuff to get where we were. I mean, the day we divorced, we had 19 houses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I'm down to 11 now, which I,
Poor Marcus.
I
Only
know,
11
poor,
houses.
Poor me, but it still feels like a kick in the nuts.
For sure.
I had to sell two of them just to pay the fucking lawyers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The lawyer. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
and she ended up firing both of them that she had because they couldn't get anywhere with me because she was asking for 110% of what we had.
Yeah.
I mean, just delusional.
Yeah.
Thought I was hiding money.
Oh yeah. Oh, we went through that. Like, I have money hidden in offshore bank accounts, supposedly.
And it was completely untrue. But
Well, did you have to have?
We got through it.
Did you have to have forensic accounting?
see, she threatened that.
No, I had that.
Oh, so that's why it took so long.
Oh my gosh! And I think it was close to $60,000 for the forensic accounting. Yeah.
I
that one
I started
piece.
adding it up, and that's when my buddies are like, "Dude, even if you come out squeaky clean, you're going to be in the hole another however many thousands and thousands of dollars. Just sign the deal."
Yeah. No, they did that right away. They did the forensic accounting, and of course, they didn't find anything. It's like I'm not hiding money from
Right,
people.
right.
And then some of my wealthier friends said, "Well, if you have money in offshore bank accounts, whether you do or you don't, she'll never find it because you're either that good
Yeah.
or it's not there.
Yeah, right. So after 4 years, how did she finally sign on the line or whatever?
Yeah. What got her to sign on the line? That's what she, and this was just April.
So basically
just ended
recently.
Yeah, recently. So
well,
she,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm still feeling that, but
You will feel it for a while.
The judge basically, when they did like a pretrial, the judge, she was doing the same thing when she was asking for basically 100%. So we got business. So we got evaluations on the business,
Right.
So from the court, like court ordered business valuation. So they valued all the businesses and they came up with a value and then split it 50-50. And then that's what we offered them, like, 50-50 split.
Okay.
Right. And we'd already split up the rest of the stuff. We were just left with the businesses.
Yeah.
And we offered them 50-50 with a payment plan with like 8% interest or whatever. And they said no. And their counter to that was they wanted 100%. So they wanted 100% of the value of the companies, basically. And the judge was like, listen, like if we go to trial, there's no way I'm going to give that to you. That just doesn't make sense. You don't get 100% of it. And so when they actually realized they weren't going to get 100% if we go to trial, they took the 50%, but they took all up front. So I had to write a check for 50% of everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had to borrow some money for that.
Right. I get it. Well, you're young and entrepreneurial and you have a lot of energy and good head on your shoulders, it looks like. So
and it's been great. Now we've got my fiance and I. We have to set a date and move forward with that because we had done that before, but then the divorce kept going on, and then that was of course really hard for her and me as well. We didn't want to keep moving the date, so we just paused.
Right.
Didn't think it was going to take this long to get divorced. So
okay, so you're on Seeking.
Yeah.
You have a fiance.
Met her on Seeking. We had it was towards the end of the year. It was actually December. It'll be 5 years in like a few days. We met, okay. Like a month from now. We met in December 5 years ago and really hit it off. We had this awkward coffee date. She was in the city and I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago as well. Let's meet for coffee, right? Mm-hmm. And I actually didn't have to be in the city, but she was really, really cute. She's like, I shouldn't say cute. She's smoking hot. And I was like, okay, I got to meet this girl. I don't want to, when you really find someone that you're like, okay, we've connected well, we're texting well. Yeah. It's like, you don't want them to meet someone else. And, so you got to take that advantage. So I got up early in the morning. We meet at this coffee shop in Chicago that she said was close to her place, and she was going to go up and visit family or whatever after that. And so it was a Saturday morning. Nobody's in this coffee shop. And there's no music in this coffee shop, and we're the only people there, and then the workers. It was the most awkward place to meet, and like our voices were echoing everywhere.
Oh, that is awkward. I've been in a situation like that. Yeah, where people can hear you.
Yeah, they can hear you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we're talking about, it's an arrangement. So we're talking about our sexuality. And one of the things that I think makes Seeking, it gives the platform for really like brutal honesty. So thinking through it, at what stage in a relationship would I be able to tell my partner or my potential partner, hey, you know what? I've slept with 50 escorts before. And how would that be okay? You know what I mean? Like that's just not a typical, like, what is that, date 3 on Tinder? Like, when do you do that?
I know.
And not be
ever.
repulsed ever, right?
Yeah.
So being able to be and meet somebody who is like, oh, okay, and not judge you for that or think anything bad, just actually thinking, we'll call Molly is what we'll call my fiance. So, what Molly said is, oh, well, that's great. That means you should be pretty good in bed.
I love it. Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing, and you've noticed here from all these girls and guys who've gathered here for this party, is that instant comfortable feeling that they don't have to dance around anything.
Yeah. And then this is some advice for sugar babies and sugar daddies out there. So she had and still does have a company. I can take tax deductions and give her money. So it was at the end of the year. And, looking at my potential taxes, I was like, oh, man, I need to spend some money, get my taxes down. So the arrangement that we had initially was immediately I trusted her. And I wouldn't do this now. I would not do this now. But basically, we made a 6-month agreement. And, I gave her a big chunk of money at that moment in time. And again, I would never do this again. But it really helped me out because then it lowered my taxes. And then I could have, the 6-month agreement. And it helped her out because she used that money. She paid off some debt right away. Right. And our arrangement was just, we'll see each other as much as we can. And we'll go from there. And what made it work is we both loved being with each other, and we both fell in love.
So you can find love sugar dating?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just wanted to clarify for all those who think this is just prostitution.
Yeah. Oh, no. And it's so different. I mean, if you've ever seen, for those if you've ever been with an escort compared to someone on Seeking, it's just a different experience. It's totally different. Yeah. Not even close.
We're trying to get rid of the stigma of it, and I think we're helping.
Seeking is just the black and white way that relationships work and always have worked. That's the thing, and that I don't understand about like the people who judge this idea, or even escorting, right? So I know it's illegal here in the United States. First of all, I don't think it should be.
Well,
but even if
grown adults do,
right? If that's a problem, like Seeking is just the black and white way that relationships work. So relationships have always been the female in the relationships wants protection, and the male in the relationship biologically wants to have sex. Actually wants to have sex with as many people as possible for the species to continue. So a man is driven more to have sex with multiple partners, more so than a woman is. Not that she's not, but it's more from our biology. It's the natural urges, right? So back in the day when Vikings were plundering and pillaging, what was the attractive male at that time was big burly guy, because he needed to protect the women from being raped and taken away by the captives. Well, in Western society, especially in America, protection now is money. That's the protection. The protection for the kids, protection for the wife or the mother of the children is money. That is the protection here. Everything from like where you live too. I mean, if you're in a bad neighborhood, less protection. Good neighborhood, good protection, but you pay more, right? So Seeking is just a black and white way to say, hey, this is how relationships work.
Yeah.
Men, you protect. Women, you be beautiful and have sex. Like that's it. Like it's
to boil down to
boiling it
bolts,
down, nuts and bolts.
Right.
You think about it like you go out to a nightclub. Why do guys go out to a nightclub and get bottle service and spend $8,000 on a table in Vegas?
Yeah.
Why do they do that? They do that so they can show the women that they have money, attract the women over, buy them drinks all night in hopes that they get one of them to sleep with them.
Yeah.
That's it. And what we're doing is just
simple-minded.
We are. And every subculture has this, right? Like from the Cars, so like African American culture in Chicago, it's these like lowrider cars with these huge, ridiculous rims.
Yeah, I've
right?
seen them.
But that means I have money, right? And that's what attracts the female. I have money, right? Or guns, right? Money, cash, guns. So you see like people with, their Instagram pictures, they have stacks of all these $100 bills and guns.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in that subculture, that is protection. And that's what's attractive to the female.
Right. Yeah. So you really like getting on the sugar dating site because you felt like that was where home was.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and oh my gosh, like my Molly and I, for like 2 years, we would see each other, and then we would go, and I was good at finding escorts, so we would occasionally like hire an escort, and we'd all play together, and like have threesomes and things like that. And
she's fine with that.
Yeah, what's interesting? She goes up and down with that. Like she sometimes is fine with that. She sometimes wants to be with a woman, and sometimes is like, no way, I don't want to be with a woman. And sometimes she's super into, like, I've brought girls back from Seeking with the agreement where she's going to be sitting in the room watching us.
Oh yeah.
Fuck. Yeah. But, and so we've done stuff like that. But like, there's also times where she would can't watch me fuck someone else. Otherwise she's just like crazy jealousy. So you never know. You never know.
Now you told me she's still on Seeking.
So she's still a sugar babe. So for 2 years, we were just seeing each other. We, would occasionally go and do stuff with other people. And I had a court order that I could not spend money. And so basically every month I had to do my taxes. I had to send in every bank account,
what a nightmare.
Oh my gosh, it was horrible for 4 years. This. So, at that point in time, there was only so much I could do. So she's like, and we loved to travel and do things. And she has a company. She makes money on that company, but man, not the type of money hourly, you can make potentially on Seeking. And the thing is, it was like, she brought up the idea because we had a really great first threesome experience with an escort in Amsterdam that basically guided us through and kind of facilitated the experience, right? It made it about us. And it was a really beautiful experience. So Molly was like, I would love to be that unicorn to facilitate these experiences for other people. And I could go on SA, I could make good money doing it. I could have fun doing it. I could feel fulfilled doing it. I could meet some interesting people. And she's like, what do you think? And I'm like, hell yeah. That sounds amazing. You know, I'd love that. So she did that. That's how she got back on Seeking. She found that she enjoyed it for a time, but she found that it was a ton of work.
Yeah.
Because it was most of the time it was just a one-time thing. Where, you know, if you're on Seeking, you're trying to find something regular, because it's a lot of work. And then she found like a lot of couples would get flaky. You know, the woman would get cold feet like 2 days before they're supposed to meet, or, you know, and it was just too much work for that. And so she went on and just started, you know, meeting men again. And I am not a jealous person at all. Like, I love hearing about her experiences. I love it when she's happy. Like, if she, you know, travels internationally with some guy, and, you know, she comes back with these Prada bags and everything, and like, and
she informs them that she's engaged.
Yeah.
And they're fine with it.
Yeah. She doesn't necessarily, like, on the first meet and greet.
Okay.
Anything that's going to be like more of a long-term thing. And so like right now she's seeing a guy. Like, I've met this guy. We're friends. We do fundraisers together. And, you know, just,
wow.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it.
It's an interesting dynamic.
It's very interesting. She sometimes has issues with me, because I go on.
Now, are you still on Seeking?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a Monday night girl and a Wednesday night girl and a Thursday
yeah?
night girl. Yeah. And then on the
Alejandro put a kibosh to my Monday and Wednesday girl. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I went down to Brazil, I was going down for a buddy's wedding, and went down to Brazil, and I knew, you know, there's going to be a bunch of gorgeous women. I'm going to, of course, have fun down there too. She's like, before I left, she's like, hey, there's two things. She's like, don't come back with an STD or a child.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, okay, fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, and then it's so funny, like, we're coming down here on this weekend, and I don't remember if it was on the airplane or when we were, like, I think it was still on the airplane, or maybe when we first got to the house we were staying at here. She's like, you know, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to be up for this weekend, but you can fuck whoever you want.
See, I didn't get the same permission.
But you guys are new, like, you know, 2 months, right? That's what you guys have been.
Well,
exclusive?
we've been dating. Well, we were dating 15 months when we went exclusive.
Yeah.
So it's a year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. See, we went the opposite.
Almost.
We were exclusive, and then,
yeah,
you know, now we've opened it up. So, I mean, even like last night was a lot of fun. You know,
we're going to get into that here in just a second, and I'm about to lead into that. So tell us about how you came into this, coming to our party.
Yeah.
And your thoughts.
That's right.
So you found the podcast through Elena.
Yeah.
Right,
So Elena,
who was on our show. She was the Submissive Chicago Sugar Baby, which that episode has just blown up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm very dominant. I'm involved in the, like, BDSM community in Chicago. There's several dungeons in Chicago.
Yeah, we have a few here.
Yeah, and so I have memberships to a few of them.
Okay,
and you know, I haven't been able to. We call it in the community. We call it, you know, like, you create a scene. So it's like you're because it's almost like you're acting out a scene, right? So
we're gonna have a BDSM episode coming up.
Oh,
we haven't recorded it yet, but it's on the schedule.
Yeah, I have a lot of experience in that world, and there's some right and wrong ways to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people and a lot of guys, I find, especially with talking to, you know, like Elena and some of the other women that I see, the idea of being dominant is not, I'm going to hold a girl down and fuck her in the ass. But that's typically what men think. I'm dominant. I'm going to be forceful in bed. But honestly, being dominant is actually, when you look at what it is, or being a dominatrix, when you look at what it is you are actually a student of the pleasure of your partner. Okay. And what you're doing is you're observing, how can I take this person to a higher level of sexuality that they're not aware of? And everybody is different with that. So, for instance, you know, some people are into like humiliation, where you do it to somebody else and you're going to ruin their soul.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you have to be very, very, very aware. And like, if I'm in a session where I'm dominating someone, I am not at all on any sort of drugs or alcohol. I have to be like fully present and fully, all of my senses have to be full, because I need to be extremely aware of the line, because that's the part that makes that fun. Is there's a line between pain and pleasure. And for women, it's very interesting. For women, they can take more pain than men, right? They're tougher than men, and that's the way they're designed biologically for childbirth. They actually have a higher pain tolerance than men do. So when you right on the line between pain and pleasure. That's why, like when you're fucking and you're fucking really hard and deep, and there's that, oh, that hurts and then it feels good. It hurts and it feels good, right? Mm-hmm. So you can do that same idea with physical pain, like spanking or fire or wax or needles or choking or whatever. But you've got to get the person, first of all, they have to trust you, and then you have to get them so turned on where you can go back and forth. Basically, it's a dance between crossing those lines. Pain, back to pleasure, pain, back to pleasure.
Right.
And like music is important. What I find sets the scene really well. You can have like dark BDSM sounding music, or what is even more mentally eerie is having like classical piano playing.
Yeah, sure.
That's really, really, really eerie for people.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love BDSM. It's a lot of work, being somebody like dominant. It's a lot of effort you have to put into it. You have to really know what you're doing. You have to understand the risks and let the partner know of the risks. And then, guys, if you get into this and you make any sort of money, as crazy as this sounds, you really should have some sort of sex contract. Just
right.
Like I know the Christian Grey thing and everything there is, we look at that and we think it's like funny or strange, but like if you put marks on a woman, you have to have a agreement that she agreed to that. Otherwise, you could have a lawsuit. Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately, too, there is women out there that are looking for that, so they can accuse you of rape, so they can settle out of court and get $50,000 from you.
Problem.
It could be a problem.
Definitely.
So it's just you want to make sure that you cover your bases
right
on that, because that is a game that there are unfortunately some women out there trying to play.
Yep.
So
Elena turned you onto the podcast.
Yeah. So Elena, and then I listened to her. So I started listening to it right away.
Yeah.
Because as soon as she told me, and then of course listened to her episode, and right away, like, I love the podcast. Like I started at episode 1.
Yeah.
And I know you keep on saying, oh, the first ones were bad. They were good.
A lot of times we don't like the sound of our own voice, and I listen to one and I just cringe. I'm like, oh man, they're so much better now.
But
it is what it is.
Yeah,
you got to start somewhere.
But I immediately loved it, and then I told Molly, my fiance, about it, and she started listening to some of the episodes, and she obviously enjoyed it as well. And then Elena's like, "Hey, you guys got to come to this party." So
yeah, she asked us. Short King and his fiance might be looking at wanting to come. Do you have any extra available spots? And we're like, we really don't, but maybe we could open some up.
Yeah, you're like, hey, you can come if you buy an extra suite here.
I mean, pretty much. Yeah, right.
And I was like, all right, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, it's been just meeting Lily, and I'm driving around Lily's like extra vehicle here to drive the girls around, and it's just been such a
So we picked you up at the airport.
Lovely experience.
And you got to meet some of the people here, and then we took you over to the Airbnb. How's the Airbnb?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So nice.
I was actually designed by an ex-girlfriend sugar baby of mine, and it was her first house that she'd ever remodeled. She did a fantastic job. I loved her vision, and she's actually the reason that this podcast exists. After we broke up, she started her own podcast, and she's telling me about it. And I've told this story, but we always rehash. And we were just kind of catching up, like, oh, how you doing? Who are you dating now? Blah, 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 right? She's like, you should come on my show. We're like, well, what would we talk about? And instantly, like, this idea went in my head, like, oh my God, we could talk about sugar daddies and sugar babies and sugar dating, because her podcast was not about that. But I didn't tell her. I was like, I have a good idea. It's like, what is it? I'm like, let me go home and think about this. And I came home, talked to Amy. I said, hey, I've got this great idea. Let's look at some logos. Let's look at some, getting some intros, outros, find us a studio. And all of a sudden this whole thing was launched. So you are staying in ground zero.
I love it.
Of kind of how this whole thing started.
Yeah. It's great. Like, yeah.
You know what? I have bought and sold over 200 homes personally.
Damn. Wow.
And I've fixed and flipped many, many homes over the years. You are staying in the very first house I ever bought that I lived at.
Wow. And you're still here.
You're in the master bedroom, and that was my very first purchase I ever made in 1999. I bought that house for $92,000. I could not afford it. I was working at Jack in the Box, making $38,000 a year. My payment on the house was $900. I'll never forget all this. I had to get 2 roommates who were paying me $300 each because I was single at the time. That's how I afforded the house. I was basically paying $300 for a house. And I thought, well, this works. And then I ended up getting married, and she bought a house in the neighborhood. So I moved in with her, built the extra room. Did you see the extra room?
Yep.
Where Lily was living for a while.
Yep. Lily showed us
until
that.
she met Trucker.
Yep.
But
It's beautiful.
I built that room for myself, and I never lived there. And so I just ended up renting out. I was like, okay, well, I've got a couple extra rooms. I end up renting them out, and I did the roommate situation. Now, it was a little bit extra work, but I couldn't afford, like, if I had a family there and they moved out, I'm like, how the hell am I going to make this payment, you know, or they damaged or anything. But when I had roommates, if one roommate left, I still had income coming in from the house, and I could afford the payment. And that's basically how I launched my real estate portfolio. Yeah. That's how I launched it, was that exact method. And, you know, you just find a way.
Well, how old were you in 1999?
Like 31 or 32, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So my early 30s.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't know where I was going, what I wanted to do. I felt like a ship with no sail, just drifting on the ocean. Like I really had no direction. I had a decent job, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I hadn't really pursued anything. That was kind of my first venture into real estate. And, you know, that actually is what changed everything. And you are actually in my bedroom that I slept in 1999. Now, it looked much different back then.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because it is gorgeous. We call it the Chicago house because that's where
all the
Chicago people are there.
Yeah.
We were talking, man, this looks very inspired by like Chip and Joanna Gaines because there's like the shiplap on the wall and everything.
Yeah, yeah. She did a great job, even though, you know, we're no longer friends, unfortunately. And she's often married and happy now, which is fantastic. Yeah. But I have to give credit to her. Like, she went in there and she designed that thing and implemented it. My crew did a lot of the work, you know, put her vision into motion. But, you know, like the little trim around the top of the doors with the little crown. And so I would have never thought about that. Yeah. And I don't know where she got all those ideas, but it was great.
Yeah. And that's your ex, you said?
Yeah, so, it was a 2.5-year relationship I had, and we broke up right when they shut down the state for COVID. Like, we were supposed to go see Post Malone on March 15th on Sunday. He canceled because the whole world shut down, and I guess she found that as a good time to break up. I think it was coming, and since we couldn't go see Post Malone, she had no other reason to keep staying with me. And then she ended up moving a guy 5 years younger into the house, which just ripped me apart because I'm like, wow. You just replaced me that quick. It was one of those rebound situations.
Yeah.
But you know what? And again, I talk about this, but it's been a long time. I was so hurt. I had anxiety. I couldn't sleep at night. I lost 10, 12 pounds like that. Now, I don't recommend that.
That's probably not the best way to do it. Yeah.
That's not the best way. Like I was just like shaking. COVID had shut the world down. My business was pretty much shut down. I just lost my girl. Some other guy is living in my house. I can't do shit about it. And the way I had to recover was through YouTube. And I had to do a lot of self-therapy. And I just started typing in my emotions into YouTube. And I found some relationship therapists, some psychoanalysts who said, here is why this is happening. Here's how it's going to progress. Here's what you're feeling. Here's what they're feeling. And this is why you're going to get better. And you just need to follow these steps and just let time and then do work. You got to do work on yourself, and you got to come out of this a better person. And so I started doing the work mentally, physically, and all of a sudden I came out of it so much happier, stronger, better mental state. I understood relationships better. Everything they said that would happen with this rebound, I watched it happen. She ended up kicking the guy out, you know, and then she ended up contacting me and like, hey, I really miss you. Can we go on? All of that almost step by step in order happened exactly as the psychotherapist and the relationship coaches said it would. And if I would have never typed that in, I would have just been wallowing around, like not knowing what to think, not knowing what to do. So, YouTube is such an amazing source.
Well, and it just goes, like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
So it's like
absolutely.
without that really hard piece, like
I wouldn't have.
you wouldn't have learned.
I wouldn't have even had like the opportunity to grow. I would have had no reason to search this out and understand it. And now I can actually teach others and understand their situation and see, it's easier when you're on the outside looking in. But now if I see a friend going through the same thing, I'm like, don't worry, my friend. Here's what's going to happen. Here's how you need to deal with it. Just do this, this, and this. You're going to come out stronger. Here's some resources for you. I can show them the water. I can't make them drink it. But now at least I can show it to them, which is really cool. So you are in
the place.
In ground zero.
Yeah.
How we all came to this point right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, congratulations. Just really like working through all that and not giving up.
Yeah.
Not just sitting there and wallowing.
Really built like this fun little community through the podcast where we all have common interests.
Last night was fun, and I can't wait.
So tell me a little bit about. Okay, so we picked you up, we dropped you off at your Airbnb, and then Lily decided that we should have drinks.
Yes.
At the W.
Yes.
And a couple of the guys had some amazing sweets that we could
amazing
go party
sweets.
in.
And so I got into mixology when all the bars shut down during COVID.
Okay.
So I ended up building this huge bar in my basement. I love making drinks now. So I went out and bought about $700 of alcohol, put it in my suitcase to bring up to the room. Yeah. So I'm there making drinks last night.
Was it really that much?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Which is fine. It's whatever.
We're having the time of our life.
We're having the time of our life. It was $700 well spent. So I'm making drinks for, everybody's coming over. It was such a mess because we didn't have any rags or any of the right things. So it was just like, I feel bad. There's just a mess over there right now.
we did leave a mess.
There was some damaged, nothing damaged, but there was a lot of alcohol everywhere. But anyway, on night one, yeah. So we're having a good time, and of course, these beautiful women are coming over and saying, "Can you make this?" or "This is what I like. Can you make something like this?"
And everybody was so dressed up last night.
my
I wasn't
gosh.
expecting it to be.
Everybody
the belle
was.
of the ball last night. I just thought we were just going to casually have some drinks.
We casually have some drinks with amazing, all the women.
Like they look like they were ready for the red carpet.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
telling you.
Every single one of them.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then us guys, we were guys, we showed up. We did fine.
Right.
But that's not important.
Yeah.
It's not important. It's the girls.
I think the girls liked each other better than
oh my gosh,
than they liked us guys, right?
So there's 4 of us from Chicago, and I'll name her Stacy. So Stacy in the Chicago house, the really tall blonde,
yes,
that we were talking about. Stacy came over to me, and I had been serving the alcohol, so I knew how many she had. And she's not a big person either. She came over to me. She's like, I really want to get this girl to come back with us. She's like, can you? Yeah, like I really like this girl. Can you help me get this girl? And I've never met Stacy before, so it's so funny though because Stacy and her boyfriend actually did a FaceTime call with my fiance Molly for like a possible threesome.
Right, I
that
heard.
Never went anywhere. They
Small
never
world,
met.
huh?
Small world, and then come here and
they're like, wait a minute.
Stacy's like, I recognize you.
Yeah.
And then they put the pieces together that they had this
too funny
FaceTime. But anyway, so she tried so hard to get her to come back to the Chicago house. It didn't happen, but the girls were very much into each other. And honestly, last night, so Molly wasn't feeling great, and she wanted to make sure she had plenty of energy for tonight.
Right.
So she actually went home a little bit early.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah. She's like, have a good time. You can fuck whoever you want. Just don't wake me up.
God, you got the green light, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I noticed you took advantage of that
I
green
did take
light.
advantage of that green light. So Stacy and I went back, and this is so funny. Stacy and I go back, and we're really quiet, and we're naked. We're in bed. We haven't started fucking yet, but we're making out and having a nice time, and then all of a sudden, like, the door opens, and I'm like shit. I'm like, we woke up Molly, and she's not going to be happy because she woke up. Not that I'm doing that, but because I woke her up. and it's Elena. Because
Yeah.
Elena, you had dropped Elena.
just dropped Elena off, and she's
Elena
like,
off.
well, I don't know what I'm about to walk into,
Yeah.
but
So she
here we
opens
go.
the door. We're both naked in there. She's staying in that far left bedroom in there. So we like both are like looking back, at who it is, and she's like, "Hey guys, don't want to interrupt, but I ordered some tacos." And she's like, "So
Midnight
when you guys finish up, we can get some tacos." So we finish up, and then we all go out there, and we're all eating tacos and
is
just
hilarious.
chatting, and then we all would have played together for sure, but Elena was just done. She was so tired,
Yeah,
so she went
yeah.
to bed, and then Stacy and I went for round 2.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Short King just. I'll tell you what, we saw Short King getting some action, and we're
Yeah.
all like, bow down to Short King.
Well, Short King had to stand on his tiptoes to kiss Stacy.
Yeah, I got it. Well, we are looking forward to night number 2 today.
Yeah.
Of course, this episode is going to come out much later than the day we're recording it. But tonight, party's going to kick off around 4. It's mid-afternoon. It's almost 1 now when
Yep.
we're recording. So we got to get ready soon. Everybody's going to be over here from 4 to 6.
Yep. I got to go to the W and get all that $700 that I'll call back
Yeah.
over here. So
Right.
I'll do that.
And then we got the party bus coming to pick us all up, take us down there. And then the concert's about 3.5 hours. And again, our private suite is all you can eat and all you can drink. And
I'm
I
excited.
saw the menu. They've got flat iron steak. They've got poached lobster. They got chicken, of course, and some caprese salad
Damn,
and all
poached
kinds of
lobster.
good stuff. Yeah.
Damn.
So it's all inclusive in the suite. I'm telling you, our next party, you're going to want
dude.
to
Yeah.
sign up for it, right?
Oh, 100%.
What,
And,
what do you
like,
think so far? I mean, have we
honestly,
provided?
Oh, yeah. It's got to be like one of the top 10 experiences of my life so far. And we haven't even done the main event,
I know, right?
This is just the pre-party. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Oh, matter of fact, as we speak, Kimmy just messaged me. She just flew in, and she's wanting somebody to pick her up from the airport.
Nice.
Oh, Kevin's saying, sure, yeah, what time? So Kevin's been great.
Kevin's, picking up everybody
Yeah,
from the airport.
Kevin's.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the comments. Kevin's loving life right now. Even though him and Vivian are together, she's kind of giving him the green light to flirt.
Yeah, flirt, yeah.
Oh,
He was flirting last night. He was getting it on. I saw the group of women around him last night.
It'd be hilarious.
He's
I mean,
great.
just and what's really funny was at the W there was this one of the bodyguards there, the
Big guy.
big black guy,
Big guy, yeah.
muscle guy, and so people are like, "Are you Kevin?" And he point at the black guy, goes, "No, that's Kevin," because everybody thinks
Everybody
he's
thinks
a tall,
big black
muscular black guy. Yeah.
Oh, hey, before I forget, Marcus, I don't know if it's been mentioned because I haven't listened to all of the episodes yet, but I use an app for texting that's called Text Free,
Oh, really? Okay.
and it's free.
yeah.
You download the app, and you set up your number with just a email and login, and then you can just, if you ever need to burn that number, you can actually in the app itself, without changing your username and password, just get a different number.
Okay.
It's free. It has ads on it. You can pay $5 a month to get the ads off.
Yeah.
But honestly, it
Is that
works.
the one you use?
That's
Now,
what I use. Yeah.
I've used some of those free texting apps, and I had problems where I would send pictures or they would send a picture, and I never got it. Do you have any problems?
I don't have
there?
any problem with pictures. Videos come through super pixelated and tiny.
Okay, yeah.
But if somebody wants to send me a video, I've got a Snapchat just set up just for seeking relationships. But I've found that app to work really great, and especially with the ability to get a new local number.
Yeah.
You can set your area
There
code.
you go. Most of us use Google Voice, but we're there's different apps out there.
Yeah,
Different.
And I think because I used to use Google Voice, the thing that I liked more about this one was just the ability I can go in without changing a username or password and syncing up a different email.
Nice.
I can get a new phone number.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a nice, safe.
As we wrap up, I see you've got a few notes there. Did we cover most
I think
everything?
we covered everything. Some of it was just to try to remember the different names,
Yeah.
so I don't forget.
Yeah.
I've had some, of course, amazing and crazy experiences in my time. I think my kill count's like over 120 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing that works really well for like me and my relationship with Molly is the thing that I will not do is lie.
Okay.
I used to lie. That really destroyed a part of my soul when I was, in my relationship with my ex.
Good advice. Yeah.
So honesty, there's been
And
times.
don't you feel like this is the venue that
For sure,
and
absolutely.
this is the way
Absolutely.
that you could actually
You
be
can be
honest?
that, yeah. and
the most honest.
The most honest. Yeah.
Alejandra and I, we were struggling with our feelings there for a while, and we started like not wanting to upset each other, and so we found ourselves lying to each other. Like I'd catch her in a lie, she'd catch me in a lie, and I didn't want to do that, but I didn't want to scare her off either.
Yep.
And so I found myself doing that because our feelings were growing.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, for most of the people that I meet there, I'd be straight up hard truth, and if they don't like it, then that's fine. Yep. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Well, and even now, with being engaged, it was just this past year where I realized that I was actually in another ayahuasca ceremony that I did, but I realized that if I am not honest with my partner, I told her, this morning when she woke up that Stacy and I hooked up last night, and told her about that.
No, wait, where was she sleeping?
What'd you say?
Where was she sleeping that she didn't know that?
In the master bedroom.
Okay, and then where did you hook up at?
The bedroom right next door.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, where Stacy was staying.
Oh, that's right, because she's staying there.
She's staying there.
That's
yeah.
right.
So and that's the thing. So I told her sometimes she's okay with it, and sometimes she's not. There's definitely emotions, but what I realized is if I be someone I'm not, and my fiance or anyone else falls in love with the person that I've created that's fake, then that person. Well, first of all, I don't actually have the ability then to experience love. And that person doesn't have the opportunity to give unconditional love because they are giving love to something fake. Yeah. So for me, it's like I need to be honest, because if that person chooses the person you are is not somebody I can love, at least I can move on and find a person who can love the person who I actually am and not the person who I pretend to be. And then this was something that Molly told me when she, about a year ago, close to a year ago, caught me in a lie. She's like, you have to give me I have the right, and you have to give me the opportunity to know the truth, to make my own decision. So don't decide for me, because by you lying, you're deciding for me. You're saying you can't handle this, and she's just let me make that decision for myself. Don't steal that from me. And so I think honesty is important.
Well, I think that's very good advice to end on, and again, we really appreciate you coming down to Phoenix, Arizona.
Thank you so. Everything's been great.
How's the weather?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Is this not
like
just
72 degrees, sunny?
I told people even 6 months ago when we announced this, I said, you will want to experience Arizona in November. It is absolutely amazing.
And I can't.
Every year it is.
Like everybody that I've met, there's, I don't know, a handful of sugar daddies here, a whole bunch of sugar babies here. Just everybody's just so kind and gracious and amazing, and just it's a big family. I'm excited to see like what you guys do next. And this is going to get bigger. It's going to be huge. You're going to have like hundreds of people.
That would be fun, right? Well, I mean, the sugar daddies did fork out, so we did raise some money, and we were able to really put on a special party, and we appreciate you doing that, and hopefully you feel like you got your money's worth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, if you want to share your crazy sugar dating stories, we'd love to hear them. Go to our website at secretsofasugardaddy.com and follow us on Instagram. And we got a lot of great things. The girl that's actually doing our Instagram posts, you've met her. She came down from Iowa.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she had a lot of fun. Well, let's just put it this way. She flew first class down here, and she says, they kept forcing drinks down me.
I'm sure.
So she got the party started really quickly, but she's having a great time. And then also, too, we are about to start loading up a lot of content into our Patreon. And I know a few of you have already subscribed. We really appreciate that. Hang in there. You'll get your money's worth, I promise you. So go to Patreon. There will be a link to it at the bottom of this, the description of this podcast, whatever you're listening in. Whatever format you're listening to our podcast on, just look at the bottom of the description. There's a link there. All right. Any parting words?
No,
party on?
Party on. Party
we
on.
are about to party on, and it's going to get crazy. So thanks for joining me today. Until next episode. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.